What's going on, everyone? We got a post here by AMD AR. Looks like he's from the Middle East. But this is what we think and knew kind of was going to happen because it's inevitable, where AMD gets to do what NVIDIA already has. But what I'm going to talk about is not just multi-frame generation leaks coming from AMD, but PlayStation 6 also getting multi-frame generation, which I think is pretty much going to be there at launch, because why would they not? But also, PSSR 2 obviously dropped on PS5 Pro, right? But I believe with this, next year possibly, the PS5 Pro could possibly get frame generation. Possibility, like I said. Because obviously multi-frame generation is going to be PS6. Like, that's going to be something you need for next gen. But I believe the PS5 Pro could get frame gen, because we didn't say multi, just basic frame gen. You know, like a little mini system with it. And if not, then it's just all going to be on PS6 with frame gen and multi-frame generation, depending on how things want to go. But I think that multi-frame generation would be the next best thing, and that you would want the PS5 Pro to get frame generation. So you could build upon that, learn about it, and have multi-frame generation ready for PlayStation 6. But, you know, we got some stuff to read here first. We're going to find out why I believe this too. So he says, let's zoom in here a little bit for you guys. Leak reveals AMD's multi-frame generation MFG technology is nearing launch. That means this year. After addition bearing its name found in SDK files. And you know how close Mark Cerny has been with Jack, who pretty much led AMD for the longest. And he even said in that interview, they said, are we going to get frame generation? I said, well, not this year. Maybe we'll talk about it next year when it comes to frame generation. So that's automatically in his eye, because when you get your upscaler, you have to move to frame generation eventually, like NVIDIA did and like AMD did. Now it's time for AMD to move to multi-frame generation, and they can easily help PlayStation or work together with them to get that going on consoles. Tech leaks have revealed that AMD is nearing the launch of its multi-frame generation technology, following the detection of clear preliminary support for it within Fidelity FX SDK files. Yeah. So we see that right there, Fidelity. And you guys know on console, you've learned about Fidelity, what that means. A new addition was discovered within the ADLX Fidelity FX SDK interface, bearing the name IADLX3 D Fidelity FX Frame Gen Upgrade Ratio Option. So if you're upgrading from Frame Gen, what are you going to? Multi-frame generation, right? I think we can pretty much see that in the file here that's in the interface, which is a programming interface dedicated to controlling the frame generation ratio, confirming that the technology has entered an advanced stage of development within the company's software architecture. So this gives you the idea that, yeah, frame gen upgrading FX, you know what FX is in AMD, what FX frame gen upgrade ratio option is coming. Ratio is like, you know, 1 times 2 times 3. So we can kind of get that idea here that AMD is definitely going to be moving into the multi-frame generation, and they're going to be having more powerful cards coming as well. So going down here, it says, and according to what appears in the SDK files, this future will be targeted at cards supporting the technology, with expectations that it may be exclusive to owners of RDNA 4 cards. So this is why I said that the PS5 Pro could be capable of just frame generation, because they're saying RDNA 4 cards are going to be getting multi-frame generation before the potential expansion of support scope later on. We know RDNA 5 is coming. So this gives you the idea that, wait, well, hold on. If PS5 Pro could have backwards feed RDNA 4 feeds, and it got FSR 4.1 neural networking, because we saw that PSSR 2 was on the same neural networking as FSR 4.1, and that's RDNA 4. It's at 4.1 now. Why couldn't the PS5 Pro get frame generation next year? You see what I mean? That's what I'm saying. That's possible. It just depends on what Mark Cerny and them want to do. Now, multi-frame generation is a guaranteed with PlayStation 6. Frame generation is out of question because it's going to be RDNA 5. They said right here, exclusive to the owners of RDNA 4 cards. We know how these things work. Like with NVIDIA, if you want to use frame gen, you need to be on this right here. If you want to use DLSS 4.5 or multi-frame generation, you need to have this series of card. All you have to do is apply that into the AMD structure, and it's very easy to see that. So I want you guys to let me know what you think about this. And going down here, he pretty much says this is the file right here. And we see it right here. Navigation, ADLX, SDK references, ADLX interfaces, 3D graphics. And it's right here. Fidelity FX FrameGen upgrade ratio office interface provides the ratio option for AMD Fidelity FX frame generation upgrade. It's clear as daylight that it's going to be an upgrade. Interface ID, smart pointer interface name. Inherits the interface inherited by NA. AMD Fidelity FX frame generation upgrade ratio option is a feature that allows users, keyword here guys, to select the desired frame generation ratio for optimal performance and visual quality. So we already get this ratio, gets the frame generation upgrade ratio for this option. Guys, what do you think this is, right? I mean, we don't have to sit here and guess. It's telling you that you're not just getting frame gen and turn on frame gen. No, you can multiply the ratio. It's pretty obvious what that means. So AMD has been working on this secretly in the background, and they're going to get ready to launch it this year. And then I think they'll have their new cards as well too. It's not going to just be those models that are out. They're going to have other cards as well too. Obviously you have to, because PS6 is going to have an advanced RDNA 5 card. So that gives you the idea about where AMD is going with that. And this goes to 3D graphics. So this is nice because they're going to do the same thing as NVIDIA. And this is where I'm trying to tell you that these gaps are about to close even more. We see it right there, guys. Once again, take a look at it so that you can see it again. Multi-frame generation is coming. Frame generation can come to the PlayStation 5 Pro, and multi-frame generation will be for PS6. This is pretty obvious because it's going to be overqualified. So let me know what you guys think about that. This guy says Generation 9000. Interesting stuff. I mean, honestly, I'm definitely excited for this. If AMD also learns from the mistakes of NVIDIA and they get that latency down big time and they launch that, because then it's like, you're not going to sit there with these cards with multi-frame generation getting insane frames more than I am now. Now I'm going to be able to do that where cards don't come at an expensive price, not even close to that price, and you're going to be doing that. This is what AMD has always done well for quite some time. We kind of see that with PSSR too. That's why you had the insecure NVIDIA fanboys on PC like, oh no, you know, NVIDIA's superior. Let me come up with my 59. I was like, dude, but do you know how much money you have to spend with that? We're talking about price point value performance here. And now with frame generation potentially coming next year to consoles, and multi-frame generation being there for PS6, I'm telling you guys, all that stuff is not going to matter anymore. But what's going to matter is, once again, price point value performance. Now, like PC, you can't brag about path tracing. All that stuff is gone, and you're not going to be getting those exclusives. So I'm not saying it like, oh, they should free. I'm so glad you're not getting them. I'm just saying, like, if you want to try to play that game, it's like, yeah, but there's always going to be formulas missing that are only over there. And from a software perspective, that you can't get those games. I have everything, you know what I mean? So I don't care. I'm never going to miss anything. But I feel like with the route Sony and Nintendo are going, because eventually when Nintendo, if they do a mid-gen upgrade and obviously the next Switch model, they're going to have all that stuff. So it's not going to matter anymore. If you're investing into their library, which is smart because their games are only ever going to be in their world for the longest. Even if you try to get them on PC 10 years later, that's a long time. By that time, the next Switch console will be out with technology that's way better than Switch 2, and they'll have frame generation, multi-frame generation, DLSS 5 DLSS 6 or something at that point, right? Or whatever's going on at that time, maybe something even further than that, and then it just does not matter anymore. You know what I mean? So that's why I say that all this stuff has a time limit, and then eventually all this stuff that people are talking about, it's like, dude, what about your games? What games you got? Now, if you talk about, hey, we got Half-Life 3, you see what I mean? That means something because that's the only way you can play it. Well, Sony's sitting over here with PS5 Pro, PSSR 2 settings saying, oh man, Ghost of Yotei only over here. Gran Turismo 7 only over here. Demon Souls only over here. Bloodborne 2, Bloodborne Remake only over here. Astrobot only over here. You see what I mean? Wolverine only over here. Sorrows only over here. The next God of War only over here. Intergalactic, Uncharted 5, Last of Us 3. It's just giving you the idea that all that stuff is going to be happening. It's like, where else are you going to get it at then? Because it's not going to be there anymore. They're not sharing any more of those games like that. And there's plenty of other games going. The next Ghost, you know what I mean? And tons of other exclusives that are around the corner. Gran Turismo 8, that's going to happen. GTA 6 exclusivity. I'm telling you, when I don't give a damn if the Windows 6 months or whatever, you're going to be sitting there looking. If you don't have a console, like, you want to play, right? It's like, that's what I mean. Again, if you're a gamer, you're trying to get in and get that experience and play, and it's only going to be there. That's that only on. That's always at the top of the industry, no matter where you go. Who's at the top of the market cap? NVIDIA and Apple. You want to get some Apple stuff anywhere else? Apple, oh, only here. iPhone, only here, right? You see what I mean? You want that best closed operating system security and all that type of stuff? Because Apple definitely does have the best operating system. And if you combine like antiviruses and you got like a VPN or something, it's like, you're not messing with Mac or iOS or whatever. If you want the best of everything, obviously NVIDIA does have that, but they're just ridiculous lately. And it's just like Windows was in that position one time, right? But Microsoft is still like Windows when you think about Windows and stuff like that. Then they had Xbox at one point when it had its identity. Look at Google, number 3 or wherever they are. I think they're number 3 in the market cap, or maybe they go back and forth with the top with the other ones. YouTube only from Google. Google only from Google. Gmail, the exclusivity, their amazing multi-factor authentication system. They have the best authentication biometric system. It's like you think about these qualities, and it's like, yeah, because it's only there. Marvel, you're only getting Marvel from Marvel. You're only getting Disney from Disney when Disney used to be Disney. You only getting Nintendo games from Nintendo. That identity matters. It's like, you know, when it comes to AMD, they have their own stuff too. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about this. Do you believe the PS5 Pro can get frame generation next year? Are you excited for multi-frame generation coming out in general from AMD? And are you excited that PS6 could be having multi-frame generation day one, and they're building the foundation like they are for PSSR to have PSSR 3 ready for PS6 as well, along with, you know, the full backwards compatibility support of PS4 and PS5 and all that. Yeah, guys, exciting times ahead. Definitely with the market coming down too. And if the prices get right, it's going to be nuts seeing something that may cost you $700 or $600 that would probably be $3,000 or $2,500 if you want to build a PC like that, if that market's still that insane. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Once again, peace out, keep gaming, no matter what platform you're on.